So good afternoon, session number 8. Uh, Request everybody to take their seats. This is going to be a very interesting session. We're talking about shaping the century. By 2047, what are we going to look like? So 22 years to go, and it's going to mark 100 years of our independence, and we'll be at some interesting crossroads, and it will be based on the decisions that are being made today, whether it's economic growth, social equality, sustainability, technology, global geopolitics. We talked a lot about it earlier in the sessions today also. The parliamentarians are actually going to play a central role in steering this journey. Their perspectives will help us achieve national aspirations, because that's what will get translated into policies and real work on ground. And it's really looking at how India's place in the world is going to be, and more importantly, what's going to be the quality of life of our citizens. And again, we talked about it earlier today also. So I'm very delighted to have with us two amazing guests, and thank you so much for both of you for joining us. We have Shashank Mani, who is an MP, and everybody, I'm sure you know of him and his amazing work that he's going to talk about. And we also have with us Pranati Shinde, and she'll also tell us a little bit more about the stories of what's playing out, and how they are making the changes on ground today, how they are creating those plans, whether it's a 10-year plan, which will then go on to create the journey for the next 22 years. I'll have Anil, of course, doing the moderation, always our favorite moderator, with lots of questions, a very unassuming manner, but makes sure he gets his points across. And then, of course, I also have Rakesh, my colleague, who will be a discussant with his questions and, of course, give the vote of thanks. So, yes, over to you, Anil.
Thank you, Deepshika. And if I can request people at the back, please settle down so that we can begin. Okay, first off, it's really an honor to be the moderator for both of you. I'm flattered to have been asked by PAFI to chair it. So the format that we'll follow is that both the speakers, rather MPs, will go 5 to 10 minutes each with initial remarks. I just want to say that I want to share my concern as a citizen and as a journalist, is that we live in a very binary world, and my theory is that it's because the middle has got eroded, that the middle is where we used to have debates and conversations, and both our MPs have just come out of a very tough session of parliament, and you kind of get the drift as to what I'm saying. There is no dialogue. So presumably today our two MPs will show us the way how we can recreate the middle and reclaim this ability to have a dialogue. So with that, if I may request you to please go first.
Thank you for having me here to be a part of this very esteemed forum today. And it's a very important point that you raised, and I'm glad you're opening the session with that point, because yes, we did have a very tough session, parliament session. We were screaming on top of our voices to be heard. We were screaming on top of our voices to be heard. And there were a lot of issues that we wanted to discuss, apart from, of course, the important ones and Operation Sindoor. There was SIR. There were various bills that were passed, but unfortunately, we were not given a chance to do that. The order of the day, the program for the day would be changed last minute without taking the committees into confidence, without one thing was discussed in the BAC and another thing was then printed on the sheet. So I feel it could have been a very constructive parliament session like the last one, but unfortunately it wasn't. There are a lot of young MPs who look forward to the parliament session because they want to raise their questions. They want to raise questions regarding their constituencies. We really wanted to have a discussion on SIR. We wanted to have a discussion. but for some reason the ruling party did not let us have a discussion. We still don't know why, what the reason was. The parliament is a big canvas. There are a lot of things that we can discuss. There are a lot of different people we meet from across the country, across party lines, and I wish it was a more constructive session. Like you very importantly said, the middle path, and what better than parliament to debate? What better platform than the parliament to have these debates? But I see that not just the parliament, even when you come down to the Gram Panchayat level or the Jilla Parishad level, there are no debates anymore, there are no discussions anymore. There are no interactive sessions anymore. And I just feel that for a democracy to thrive, it's important that we have a two-way discussion and not a one-way monologue. And that's exactly what seems to be happening in the country right now.
Thank you for that. And Shashank, if I can.
So I was hoping not to start on a combative note, but I think my honorable member of parliament has forced me to respond to this first point. उसके बाद मैं विकसित भारत के बारे में बात करूंगा। 15 दिन हम लोग हाथ झुलाते बैठे रहे और हर दिन SIR के मुद्दों को लेके सदन में भंग हुआ। क्वेश्चन सेशन में जब सब सांसद लोग जाते हैं, भंग हुआ। विकसित भारत पर चर्चा भंग हुई। अगर एक SIR का मुद्दा ही लेके होता था तो BS मैं भी सचेतक हूँ, मैंने भी देखा था कि हमने अलाउ किया कभी कभी कि आप रखिए बात अपनी, लेकिन उसके अलावा भंग करने के अलावा इसका कारण क्या है? कारण ये है कि एक परिवार के पीछे जो पार्टी लगी रहती है उसे राजनीति से कोई मतलब नहीं है, देश से कोई मतलब नहीं है। Having said got that out of the way, let me come to the main issue कि आज की तारीख में विकसित भारत के लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए। दोस्तों, विकसित भारत बहुत बड़ी मुहिम है। देश भर के इतिहास में, विश्व के इतिहास में शायद ही किसी प्रधानमंत्री या किसी पार्टी ने 25 साल की रणनीति की है। 25 साल किस लिए? कि अपने देश को आगे बढ़ाएं। और इसमें 3 विषय हैं। विकसित भारत का अर्थ क्या होता है, विकसित भारत का मतलब क्या होता है, विकसित भारत हम लोग संसदीय क्षेत्र में कैसे करें, और विकसित भारत को हम लोग पार्लियामेंट में कैसे लाएं। विकसित भारत सिर्फ एक ये नहीं कि आपका $25 ट्रिलियन GDP हो जाएगा 2027 में, वो एक मानक है। लेकिन विकसित भारत एक मुहिम है जिसमें हम लोग को अपने आप चल के आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा। इसका मतलब क्या है कि इक्विटेबल ग्रोथ हो। इक्विटेबल ग्रोथ का मतलब क्या है कि हर व्यक्ति शक्तिशाली बने ताकि वो आगे बढ़े, सबका प्रयास हो, जन भागीदारी हो। तो विकसित भारत को हम लोग सिर्फ एक मानक से न समझें कि बहुत सालों बाद some fat cats will have a 25 trillion dollar economy. Viksit Bharat is a process of the largest nation building exercise done with human energies, which has not been done for the last many years, because for the first time we have an ordinary man who is the prime minister of this country who has shown everyone that this is possible. जो धोती कुर्ता पहन के भी चलता है व्यक्ति, उसका भी मान सम्मान होता है, अंग्रेजी झाड़ने वाला को नहीं होता है। That is विकसित भारत। Second piece is हम लोग as a parliamentarian कैसे अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज में ले जाएं, इसको बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। दोस्तों, विकसित भारत का हम गुणगान करते रहेंगे पूरे देश में, बड़े बड़े हॉल्स में, लेकिन विकसित भारत को अगर धरातल पर नहीं उतारेंगे तो वही हाल होगा कुछ हद तक जो भाजपा का हुआ। हम लोग विकसित भारत को समझा नहीं पाए। मैं मन से बोल रहा हूँ, मैं तो उत्तर प्रदेश का सांसद हूँ, हमारी 32 सीटें आई हैं, लेकिन हम लोग विकसित भारत को समझाने के लिए दिन रात लगे रहें, क्योंकि ये आखिरी मौका है दोस्तों। दिस इज अ वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम अपॉर्चुनिटी। 22 years from now we will face the same thing which is happening in China. Their population is aging. तो विकसित भारत को कार्यान्वित करने के लिए मैं इसके बारे में और भी बात कर सकता हूँ। मैंने अपने क्षेत्र में, मेरे पास करीब 28 लाख हमारे नागरिक हैं, करीब 19 लाख सिटीजन हमारे वोटर्स हैं, उनके लिए एक 10 साल की रणनीति बनाई है जिसका नाम मैंने रखा है अमृत प्रयास। तीसरा विषय ये है कि विकसित भारत के हम लोग कैसे लेजिस्लेट करें, क्योंकि 10 साल की रणनीति मैंने अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र के लिए बना ली है, लेकिन अगले 20-22 साल के लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए। और इसमें बाईपार्टिजान है, मेरा भी, कांग्रेस का भी, सब लोगों का, सदन सबका होता है। उसमें हम लोग कैसे ऐसी रणनीति बनाएं ताकि देश को आगे ले जाने के लिए हम लोग वैसे लॉज बनाएं एज लॉ मेकर्स। उसमें मैं ये कहूँगा कि जो पिछले 75 साल से हम लोग कर रहे थे, लॉ एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ कंट्रोल, कुछ हद तक लॉ एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ कंट्रोल हमें कॉलोनियल रिजीम ने दिया था, जिसको हम लोग ने परिवर्तित नहीं किया। लेकिन लॉ एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ इनेबलमेंट कैसे हम लोग को आगे बढ़ाएं। अब मैं इनकम टैक्स कमेटी का सदस्य था, मैं उसमें मतलब करीब 4 महीने तक हमारी चर्चा हुई। उसकी सदस्यता में मुझे ऐसा लगा कि हमने जो सरलता लाई है वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण थी। तो लॉ एज ए इनेबलमेंट ऑफ कंट्रोल इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस। आई थिंक इट्स राइट दैट वी शुड मेक श्योर दैट whatever time we spend in the parliament is the largest parliament in the world. When we got independence, there were 300 million people. How many Sansad? 543. Today, there are 1.4 billion people. How many Sansad? 543. Which means that the load on an average Sansad has increased at least 4.5-fold. Which means that we have to operate at a different level, at a different speed. And I think our government is absolutely convinced that that is the way to go. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened in the last parliament session. I hope there's not a repeat next time.
Before this gets into a regular TV show in the evening, I will.
I think you started off on the wrong footing.
So I will try and get this on the growth path. So I just wanted to say that yes, both it's great to have the ruling party and the opposition with us. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us. I just want to point out that there's greater continuity in legislative policy than what we can see in parliament from outside. The differences actually mask a lot of the continuity. I'll just give you a few examples. GST is the best example. It was started in the Vajpayee era, and Manmohan Singh regime then walked with it. And it's just that the Modi regime ran with it, and eventually there was a consensus based on which GST happened. Similarly with reforms, yes, the Congress is credited with it because they were in power, and many may not know, but the reforms actually began in 1980 under Indira Gandhi. If you look back at the 6th plan, of which the member secretary was none other than Manmohan Singh. So there is a lot of continuity which gets lost in our debates. So I just wanted to share that thought, and before I hand off to questions from the audience as well as from our panel, our discussant Rakesh is also there. So Rakesh, you can launch the first question. I will follow up later.
Thank you, Anil, and it's a real honor to be sitting with two honorable members of parliament. And my question is essentially to both of you, and it's a set of, I'd say, two questions. One, and these are more as a citizen rather than representative of a company. One is that we as people look up to you. You are our representatives, right? So when you wake up in the morning and look at your roles, so do you decide that how much today it will be politics and how much it will be bipartisan approach to innovation, governance, went down to say municipal governance, more FDI, more capital flows, growth and well-being of citizens. And then when you think of that, how much ground you are willing to concede? That's question number one to both of you. And the second one, again, more as a citizen. So we sometimes, are puzzled looking at, some of the state of affairs, particularly in the cities, maybe a bit of crumbling municipal governance and so on. So it's like that broken window syndrome that, one window is broken, people are not adhering to rules, regulations, and so on. So what does it take for you to lead from the front and set the right example for the citizens to actually, step up their act? Because you cannot be policing such a large population. So how do we get all the citizens involved in that nation building more proactively and unleash the potential of the people?
Two very good questions. What do you feel like? What does your inner voice tell you when you wake up in the morning? I think since both of us are Lok Sabha MPs, and we've been contesting elections now for a very long time. This is my 4th election that I contested and won. I think this is the way I look at things. The first thing I think of when I get up are my people who voted for me, who've had that hope in me. This is a huge percentage of people who have voted for the Lok Sabha MPs. And every day I feel like they are looking at us and they have hope. If they've lost hope in somehow everything else, the one person they have hope in is their elected representative. And when I represent a constituency, I am working at the grassroots level. I'm really not so bothered. I am bothered about what's happening at the top, but when somebody talks about Viksit Bharat, I am thinking about whether people in my constituency have a house to live in, whether the Prime Minister Awas Yojana has been implemented correctly. I'm thinking about whether they have water, whether the Jal Jeevan Mission Yojana, which is another pioneer scheme of this government, has been implemented properly, and whether that water has reached every household, whether every marginalized community in my constituency has got the funds from the Ministry of Social Justice. These are the things that I'm thinking about, whether that girl child is safely going to school, whether she's coming back home from school, whether she's getting the kind of education she deserves to get, whether every Jilla Parishad school has a teacher, whether the midday meal in every Jilla Parishad school is nutrition enough for that girl child or for that male child. These are the issues I'm predominantly thinking about. And what is disheartening today when I go move around in my constituency, and I don't want to politicize anything, is it's disheartening to know that this is only on paper. Unfortunately, that when I think about Prime Minister Awas Yojana, I realize that there is no land left in the villages whereby this scheme can be implemented. There are no houses on the ground. There's no land. There's no enough land in any village to build a house. So the names have been approved, but there's no house. I get disheartened when Jal Jeevan Mission, there's so much corruption that there's no source, means pipeline hai, lekin source nahi hai. Jal Jeevan Mission is supposed to come from a source of water, but there's no source. So there's no, it's not coming from a river or a well. So I'm worried because the girl child probably is not feeling safe enough to go to school and come back because of, I think just general regression in the society that we're seeing everywhere. I get worried because municipal corporation elections have not been held in Maharashtra in the last 4 years for no genuine reason, for no valid reason, and because the system has crumbled. I get worried because my name is not there in the voter list, and some old lady is not allowed to exercise her franchise because her name is not there. So I realize that my role is then not just limited to my MP LAD funds, but my role is probably bigger because I also have to instill in the people, like you said, people also need a purpose, right? That somewhere we need to keep this flame of democracy burning. And what is democracy really? It's your independence to voice your opinion, to go cast a vote, to have a house, to have water, right? Now, if I'm deprived of these couple of things, I take a step back and really at times realize, am I really meeting that? Am I really, being able to discharge my duties as a parliamentarian or as a elected representative if I'm not able to do these basic things for the people? And therefore, I feel like it needs to now be a people's movement. We need to, all of us, and not just the opposition party, not just the politicians, but all of us need to realize that it is everybody's responsibility to keep this flame going in a democracy. And I'd like to point out that the 2024 elections, because you spoke about GST, the one thing that played in Maharashtra was the 18% GST on pesticides and basic things for farmers. And they were fed up, like, हमको पीएम किसान योजना के माध्यम में से 6,000 हर साल मिलते हैं, लेकिन 18,000 हमारे जीएसटी से जो खत का जो सैक होता है उसके ऊपर कट जाते हैं. So you see, this is these are the two sides of it, and it's very exciting to go and work for them. But what are you really promising? What are you doing? And as an opposition MP, I feel there's a lot of bias. We don't get, like, for example, we have a DPDC committee in our constituency. It's so sad that, and I don't think it had gone to that level के opposition की MP है तो मत देना इसको funds. अभी हमारे जेब में थोड़ी जा रहा है. They're going to the people, and that's why it's sometimes very disheartening because you're not able to do, even as a member of parliament, anything for the people because you're deprived for political reasons from doing that.
So, इस प्रश्न का उत्तर देने के लिए मैं अपने कल की दिनचर्या बताता हूँ कि हम क्या करते हैं. तो 8:30 बजे मैं अपने घर से, मैं गांव में रहता हूँ, मेरा गांव का नाम है बरपार, बहुत बड़ा बट वृक्ष है बर के पार. तो 8:30 बजे से 9:30 बजे दिन में हर दिन मैं जहाँ रहता हूँ मैं लोगों से मिलता हूँ, ज़मीन पे बैठता हूँ, एक मसनद बता के कम से कम 50-100 लोग आते हैं। और डेवलपमेंट इज़ डायलॉग। पहली बात आपको समझनी पड़ेगी कि हम लोग चाहे कितना भी कहें, हमारे पास 5 करोड़ रुपए अगर है MP लैड फंड का, तो एक ऐसा संसदीय क्षेत्र जो कतर के बराबर है, एक कंट्री के बराबर है, उसमें वो ऊँट के मुंह में जीरा है। तो 5 करोड़ से मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता, उसमें ज़्यादा परेशानी आती हैं। तो जो आपका पहला प्रश्न है कि हम लोग कैसे विकास और राजनीति का सामंजस्य बनाएं, बहुत आवश्यक है इसमें, क्योंकि इसके लिए आप इसको अलग मत समझें। डेवलपमेंट इटसेल्फ इज़ अ डायलॉग। अगर हम लोग डायलॉग से अपने लोगों को प्रेरित नहीं कर पाएंगे तो विकास नहीं आ पाएगा, और विकास नहीं आ पाएगा, उनसे डायलॉग नहीं होगा, तो अगली बार हम लोग को वोट दे के ये जिताएंगे भी नहीं। तो तीनों चीज़ें हमारे पास रहनी पड़ेगी। हम लोग के पास एक नज़र होनी चाहिए कि क्या हमारा विश्वास जनता के बीच में है, और वो डायलॉग से होता है। लेकिन उसी के साथ साथ मैं ये भी कहूँगा कि मैं बड़ा आशावादी हूँ कि कई चीज़ें पिछले 10-11 साल में हुई हैं जो बहुत अद्वितीय हैं मेरे हिसाब से। अगर आप जाएं उत्तर प्रदेश में, जहाँ से मैं आता हूँ, मैं मध्य प्रदेश का भी जानता हूँ कई चीज़ें, वहाँ पर कई ऐसी चीज़ें हुई जिसमें बहुत बढ़त हुई है। चाहे वो आवास की बात हो, सही बात कही, कभी कभी हम लोग गफलत होती है, आवास बन पा रहा है, नहीं बन पा रहा है, लेकिन जिस प्रकार से आवास दिए गए हैं, जिस प्रकार से स्वच्छ भारत का अभियान हुआ है, जिस प्रकार से अन्य चीज़ें हुई हैं, और जिसका जिक्र किया गया जल जीवन में, वहाँ भी दिक्कतें हैं, लेकिन वहाँ दिक्कत इसलिए नहीं। और दिस कम्स टू योर सेकंड क्वेश्चन कि अगर आपका ब्रोकन विंडो सिंड्रोम है, वॉट एवर दैट मीन्स, आई थिंक आई अप्रॉक्सीमेटली नो व्हाट दैट मीन्स, बट उसमें ब्रोकन विंडो सिंड्रोम में क्या होता है कि अगर आप ये समझते हैं कि आपका डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट आपको कुछ कहेगा, इसके कारण आप कुछ करेंगे, वो गलत है। आपके गांव में आपका प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाला कोई महिला या कोई पुरुष जैसा कर रहा है वैसा आप करेंगे। दिस इज हाउ सोसाइटी इज शेप्ड। सोसाइटी इज वेरी मेमेटिक, इट इमिटेट्स, so it imitates good deeds, and if we highlight good deeds we will have a good society. So law will take its course for 10, 15, 20% of the thing, but 80% of phenomena today in Indian society is community led, which is why villages are so good, because village में अभी भी community की भावना है। जल जीवन पे आता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं भी विचलित हूँ, जैसे कि प्रतीक जी बोला कि जल जीवन अभी ठीक नहीं चला, लेकिन उसका ये कारण नहीं है कि सिर्फ करप्शन, हो सकता है थोड़ा बहुत हो, लेकिन मेन उसका कारण है कि जब टोटी बंद होती है किसी भी जल जीवन मिशन की टंकी से, तो उसको बनाने के लिए ठेकेदार के पास उंगली जाती है कि आप करवाइए, सरकार करवाए। जो वहाँ का जो ग्राम प्रधान होता है, वो उसके पास इतना हुनर नहीं कि वहाँ की टोटी वो खरवा ले। So I think it is a bigger problem, and not just in Jal Jeevan. The reason Swachh Bharat got done to a very high level is because never in the history of our nation for the last almost 65 years till Prime Minister Modi announced this on the ramparts of the Red Fort, have we made something where private sector got involved in making clean toilets, where public got involved, which is the Janta, where there was Ijjat Ghar, there was nudges which were gave, कोई जाके बाहर शौच करता था तो लड़के सीटी बजाते थे उसको हटाने के लिए, और उसके साथ साथ सरकार भी वहाँ पर इन्वॉल्व हुई। जब सरकार, समाज और प्राइवेट सेक्टर इन्वॉल्व हुआ तब जाके काम हुआ। सो आई एम आर्ग्यूइंग फॉर broken system syndrome will only come down if we promote those people who are not breaking windows and keeping a clean window. And secondly, we don't think of any problem only as a सरकारी problem. सोशलिज्म में क्या हुआ है, कांग्रेस ने इतने सालों तक क्या किया है, मैं सरकार की बदौलत चलूंगा, जीडीपी में घाटा हो ना हो। हमने क्या किया है, ऐसा नहीं कि हम सब चीज़ सही कर रहे हैं, मैं कुछ हद तक सहमत हूँ, कई चीज़ें हम लोग भी सुधारेंगे। विकसित भारत का स्वप्न क्यों देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि अगले 22 साल में हमें सुधारना है। अगर सब चीज़ सुधर गई होती तो हम लोग बोलते हैं हम लोग ठीक हैं। हम लोग को मालूम है विकसित भारत में काम करना है, लेकिन विकसित भारत में किस प्रकार से काम करना है वो अलग है। उसमें समाज, सरकार और बाजार तीनों को साथ लेके चलना पड़ेगा। It is very important to rephrase how we are thinking and doing things. And one final point, which I was joking with Anil just before this panel, that the reason that we don't promote good people and good deeds is that it's not particularly newsworthy. So how do we make sure, and us, this is us, how do we make sure that we actually appreciate good deeds? How do we pick up newspapers which are talking about, आपने क्या वो शब्द यूज़ किया, रेड लाइन टू ग्रेट लाइन, ऐसी चीज़ें ना हो। हम लोग को अगर विकसित भारत करना है, अगर इनेबलिंग लेजिस्लेशन बनाना है, अच्छे लोगों को आगे बढ़ाना है, तो अच्छे लोगों को हम लोग को सम्मान देना पड़ेगा। अभी जो घटिया लोग हैं जो कि इनकलाब जिंदाबाद नारे लगाते रहते हैं, उन्हीं के पीछे जनता जाती। मैं आपको किस्सा बता के अपनी बात समाप्त करता हूँ। मेरे पास एक फाजिल नगर में एक कोल्ड स्टोरेज है, उसको बनवाने 20 साल से पड़ा हुआ है, 20 साल से ऐसी जर्जर पड़ा हुआ है। तो मैंने एक उद्यमी को बोला, इधर आइए, इसमें देखिए कि आप उसको निकाल के इसमें कोल्ड स्टोरेज बनवा सकते हैं। सर बना सकता हूँ। मैं लखनऊ गया, लखनऊ मैंने बात की, लखनऊ बोला हाँ सर ये ठीक है, आप मुझे रेंट दे दें। हमने बना दिया, मैंने टेंडर करवा लिया। उसमें एक मेरे ही टीम का एक लड़का था, उसमें बोला सर धरना कहाँ करना है। मैंने धरना कहीं नहीं करना है। दिस इज़ द मेंटालिटी वी हैव टू गेट अवे, कि धरना कहाँ करना है, कैसे हम लोग विपक्ष में करें, वेल में आके घुस के नारेबाजी करें, भाई आप डिबेट करिए उसके बारे में. This is the point I would want to make very passionately, that now is the time to have positive movement rather than saying that we are going to take care of each other. और ये जो राजनीति आजकल चल रही है कि जाति की राजनीति है, पीडीए करेंगे, जाति को करेंगे, this is all bunkum. This is one nation. Across all things, we need to move forward.
Actually, we are now entering the last quarter of our session. There are two questions which are, I'll just flag them. I want to just ask one question to both of you, because one of the key areas, just want to pick up on the positive note that Shashankji signed off on, that women's empowerment is becoming front and center of public policy and political action in this country. The reservation bill has been passed, and the next, hopefully the next session after delimitation, we will see it in play. So at the same time, we are seeing this growth of direct benefit transfers in cash. So part of the problem that you flagged, that there are leakages and the benefits don't reach the people, are being fixed. So DBT was started in a pilot manner, but now 14 states do direct benefits transfers in cash to women for various programs. So in state elections, we have seen them. And the budget is something like 2 lakh crores. It's almost double the Manrega budget. So it's not a small sum. So how do you look, both of you, I mean, if I can begin with you, how do you look at empowerment of women through public policy and, MPs like you who are breaking the glass ceiling, as it were, and it's no longer a man's world in parliament, right? So how does this play out?
It's no longer man's world anywhere.
Great.
Women are, I think, going places
Great.
even in the corporate sector. But this is a great topic, and I think there should be another debate on this topic. But I'd like to say that it was the Congress party that introduced the 50% reservation in the local self-government, because of which women across party lines have become sarpanches, have become gram panchayat members, have become Jilla Parishad members across party lines. So in that sense, because of the amendment, we've empowered women in politics many years ago, and that's how it started. We were hoping that the same would continue when this government came into power, but the bills got stalled, and until only recently they were passed, the reservation bill. But like all of you have an idea, this bill will not be totally passed until the caste census is done, right? So it could be a total eyewash, and before the caste census is done, the women's reservation, the census is done, because the last census was done in 2011, and we still, even our Prabhag Rachna jab hoti hai, tab wo 2011 ke census se hi chal raha hai abhi tak, which is a little ambiguous, and it's a little weird. Women's empowerment comes when the society progresses. Unfortunately, all women here probably do think that, question sometimes, an introspection, whether we are progressing as a society or are we regressing as a society. A woman need not necessarily be empowered when she has a job, but a woman is empowered when she is able to walk safely from, even to get water from the well. A woman is empowered when she is able to not be beaten by her husband. A woman is empowered when she feels safe going to college. Even that is empowerment. But a lot of women here will agree and ask a question whether we're progressing as a society or whether we're regressing as a society. Number of rapes in Orissa as we speak, Orissa. The number of women who are getting abused in railways. The number of women who are getting harassed on social media, cyber, even members of parliament, the so-called trolls, if you see the comments right now, this was never the case in our society. And proudly so. We come from a society where, which has given this world a very powerful woman prime minister, which even America is not able to do. America has not been able to elect a woman president. And I proudly say that Mrs. Indira Gandhi has led this country and the women of this country to being confident. But unfortunately, whether we're regressing or progressing as a society is a question all of us need to answer. And whenever we speak about women empowerment, it would be nice if men participated in that debate more than women did. And really, women empowerment happens at the grassroots level. As my colleague said, it's about villages. It's about what is happening in the mohallas and the bastis. Also, it's about what is happening in bigger areas, you know, in so-called middle-class society. So we are waiting for that 50% reservation now. We are waiting for the census to happen. We are waiting for the mentality of punishment is the biggest deterrent, right? If men are not punished, if a wrongdoer is not punished, or if he is supported by being silent, if the people at the top don't speak about women and the atrocities committed on women, it's almost like a pass you're giving to somebody else to commit that crime on women again. And I see this happening. I see this happening right in, and that's why I say we're regressing as a society, because when wrestlers are beaten, you know, when wrestlers are beaten, when they are discriminated against, women wrestlers are discriminated against, and nobody speaks for them, but the person who has committed the atrocity, the atrocity gets applauded. That's when I start thinking if we're progressing or regressing as a society. And I strongly feel that the leadership has to condemn atrocities on women, for women to feel safe to report the crime to the police station, which does not happen nowadays. I feel police station कहता है कि नहीं, हमारे यहाँ पे कोई crime नहीं है against women, क्योंकि वो reporting नहीं हो रहा है, क्योंकि वो महिला को confidence नहीं मिल रहा है कि वो police station जाए और वो report लिखवाए. क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है? Because जिन्होंने crime commit की, उनको punishment नहीं मिल रही है. Somehow the local, whether they belong to a party, like I said, I don't want to politicize, but uska support wrongdoers को ज़्यादा मिल रहा है और महिलाओं को कम मिल रहा है, जिसके वजह से ये बढ़ते जा रहा है. I'm just giving you one example and stopping there. We were in Orissa recently, and 40,000 women were missing in the last year. 40,000 women were missing, okay? No report, nothing. Why? And then we realized that women are getting raped, cut, burnt, buried somewhere in a forest area. If she is lucky and her body is found or a body part is found, then the case is reported as missing. If the body part is not found, if the body is not found, then माँ बाप भूल जाते हैं क्योंकि वहाँ पे anarchy चल रही है. And 40,000 cases, missing women. So you could just imagine what that soul must have gone through, where she's probably buried, her hand is buried somewhere, and it is a done thing in Orissa. And I'm afraid to say that it is not only restricted to Orissa, it is happening everywhere. Even Maharashtra, Dalit women are getting raped, buried, burnt. Small children, 4-year-old children in schools are getting molested. और कोई कुछ नहीं कह रहा है इसके बारे में. So then whether women are getting empowered or not is a question, and somebody seriously needs to condemn this at the top, somebody seriously needs to look into this, and somebody really needs to punish the perpetrators.
So let me start with a statement which I made many years back at a Women Day event. My firm belief is, and my male colleagues don't attack me for this, that women are balance sheet builders, men are profit and loss people. And I think that's because when you give a rupee or any enhancement to women, she really cares for the betterment of her child, for the nutrition, for saving for the house. And this is one reason that the Prime Minister, with all the bluster that was being made about women reservation, has actually executed on a promise, which is 33% women reservation. It is going to come. It may be delayed a bit, but it is going to come. And it's a big victory. I was in Operation Sindoor in the United States with Shashi Tharoor's delegation. I met Sarah McLean, who's the 3rd highest ranking congresswoman and the, I think, highest ranking women congresswoman. And I told her about this 33% reservation for women. She fell off a chair. So we have done something which is extraordinary, and it's not done isolation. Women have voted for us in large numbers for the last many years. If you look at 2019 elections, the men-women ratio was 4-5% less. By 2024, it's 0%. If not, women are voting more. So I think women empowerment is happening. There are some crimes which I think I agree that we have to be much more critical about the safety of women. But I would want to argue at this forum that the primary thing that will take women forward is economic empowerment. और इकोनॉमिक एम्पावरमेंट के लिए अगर हम लोग उनको शक्तिशाली बनाए, वही चीज़ जो लगभग मैंने पुरुषों के लिए भी कही है कि मध्य भारत के जो पुरुष हैं, जिनको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमें विधेयक लाना पड़ेगा, जिनको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर लाना पड़ेगा, तो मेरे गांव में या मेरे ज़िले में जो लगभग 15 लाख महिलाएं हैं, हमारे यहाँ रेशियो वुमेन इज़ हायर देन मैन, उनके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं? 2-3 मैं मुख्य विषय बताऊंगा। सेफ्टी की बात कही, मैं एकदम उससे सहमत हूँ। दूसरा, उनके लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की ज़रूरत है। आज की तारीख में अगर किसी भी फैमिली में कोई भी व्यक्ति बीमार पड़ता है तो महिला उसका देखभाल करती है, तो कैसे वो उद्यमी बनेगी? उसके बाद अगर कोई पिता बीमार पड़े तो उसकी देखभाल वही करेगी। तो कैसे हम लोग घर घर में क्रेश बनाएं, आंगनवाड़ी, आशा वर्कर्स जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं, तो मेरे हिसाब से बहुत प्रगति हो रही है। और सबसे बड़ी प्रगति हो रही है एजुकेशन के क्षेत्र में। आज की तारीख में आप किसी भी स्कूल में चले जाए मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र में, कम से कम 60% से 75-65% महिलाएं हैं वहाँ पर। ये अलग विषय है कि जब वो शादी हो जाती है तो उनको घर में लोग ले जाते हैं। आई हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस इन माय बुक. I've got a full chapter on this where I've quoted a lady who has said that we worship our women with brooms actually. हम लोग बोलते तो हैं भारत माता, लेकिन असली में सम्मान नहीं करते हैं। वो समय आ गया है। और इसके लिए सांकेतिक रूप से मैंने क्या किया, मेरी 2 लड़कियां हैं, मैंने दोनों का उपनयन संस्कार मैंने ही गांव में कराया, किसी ने अपनी लड़कियों को नहीं करवाया था, ताकि बचपन से ही उनके अंदर डिग्निटी आए, वो किसी से कम नहीं है। पहले से हम लोग को लड़कों को सम्मान देना शुरू कर देते हैं, फिर कैसे एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि ग्लास सीलिंग ब्रेक करेंगी जब वो ग्राम प्रधान बनेंगी या जब बोर्ड में रूम में जाएंगी। तो बहुत आवश्यक है कि हम लोग सम्मान पहले से शुरू करें महिलाओं का। ऐसा नहीं कि उनको मौलिक ऑर्डर करें, क्योंकि महिलाओं में बहुत शक्ति है। रानी लक्ष्मीबाई मेरे पूर्वांचल की आती थी। महादेवी वर्मा की एक कविता है, बर्छी ढाल कृपाण कटारी उसकी वही सवेली थी। तो जो भी समझता है कि भारतीय नारी अबला है वो गलत है, लेकिन उसी के साथ साथ कई कारणवश उसके ऊपर काफ़ी आक्रमण हुए हैं, उसको बचाने की बहुत आवश्यकता है। तो मैं पुनः कहूँगा कि बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। मैं आई कैन से दिस फ्रॉम दिस मंच कि पूर्वांचल में पुरुष तो वैसे भी राज कर रहा है, तो महिला आगे ले जाएंगी। जो चेंज करने वाली हैं वो महिला हैं। सो व्हेन चेंज विल कम, इट विल कम फ्रॉम वुमेन। And I think it's a very important subject. I agree with the Honorable Member of Parliament that we should have a separate, almost full debate on this.
Thank you.
I would like to
The-
I would like to request my colleague here that when they start important schemes just before elections for the Mahilas like Ladki Bahin Yojana or Ladli Behna Yojana, they should continue them after coming to power also.
There are 2 requests with me. One is Yashika Singh. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much. This was absolute pleasure to listen to both of you. As members of parliament, you work very closely with your constituencies and with your constituents. I do wonder if you'd like to do a bit of, crystal gazing and tell us what are the likely changes and aspirations and attitudes of the voters that you think will happen over the next few years, and how do those play into the Viksit Bharat mission? If possible, it would be great to hear from both members of parliament, because we'd like to just sort of get that sense. But Mr. Mani would really like to hear from you.
So I would say that the expectations of the voters are increasing every time because of pervasive use of social media. And also general aspiration in the people. People are aspiring, and that's a good thing. But the issue which I would also say, and I'm from the ruling party, that the state capacity to address that is still slightly short, which is why I believe that we should deploy the energies of society and the private sector as well. मेरा ये मानना है कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर अभी तक कई ऐसे ज़िलों में एब्सेंट ही रहा है, और उसके कई कारण हैं। जैसे मेरे ज़िले में, मैं पूर्वांचल से आता हूँ, अब मैं आपको थोड़ा इतिहास में ले जाना चाहता हूँ कि वहाँ पर 1857 का युद्ध हुआ और उसके बाद 90 साल तक लॉकडाउन कर दिया गया, क्योंकि वहाँ पर मंगल पांडे उठे, लक्ष्मीबाई पूर्वांचल की थी। तो जो वहाँ के सिस्टम है वो प्रो प्राइवेट सेक्टर या प्रो उद्यमिता नहीं है। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि एस्पिरेशन बढ़े हैं, हर तरीके से बढ़े हैं। कुछ चीज़ें हम लोग कर रहे हैं, स्वच्छ भारत बहुत बड़ा प्रोग्राम रहा है, जैसे जल जीवन की बात हम लोग कर रहे हैं, वो अभी चल रहा है, उसको हम लोग सुधार करना पड़ेगा, कार्यान्वित करने। लेकिन कई ऐसी चीज़ें हैं, but it's very critical for us to say that we must deploy the sources of society to do it. Very briefly, I'll give you an example. मेरा अमृत प्रयास रेलवे स्टेशन बन रहा था जब मैं चयनित हुआ 1 साल पहले। मैंने उनको रोका, मैंने बोला यहाँ पर आप देवरिया के बारे में क्या कर रहे हैं? तो बोला मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ। तो मैंने उसका पूरा कायाकल्प किया, मैंने जनभागीदारी की और रेलवे ने रिस्पॉन्ड किया। रेलवे बोला मैं बना दूंगा। तो आज की तारीख में रेलवे स्टेशन जो बन रहा है उसमें एक लीफ शेप का है, क्योंकि देवारण्य मतलब देवों का आरण्य, देवों का एक तरह से फॉरेस्ट था। तो उस हिसाब से हम कर रहे हैं. सो हाउ डू वी लोकलाइज, हाउ डू वी लुक एट द लोकल एस्पिरेशन. दिस कैनॉट बी अ टॉप डाउन प्रोसेस की प्लानिंग कमीशन से नीचे नीचे जाके ट्रिकल डाउन करें. दिस हैज़ टू बी मिडल अप. दैट वुड बी माई शॉर्ट आंसर.
Okay,
Can I
one
just-
more- Sorry, please. Go ahead.
You know, like you said, what is the aspiration of the voter? But I just feel somewhere today we're letting them down, because the voter, he is supposed to aspire and think that the representative is going to work very well in the constituency. But I feel somewhere that is dwindling right now, because voters are getting compelled to vote on the basis of religion and other things, and not so much work. And I think all of us as representatives need to introspect that and work on that. Let's start asking for votes on the basis of work and the grassroots work that you do, and not so much on other factors.
Thank you. Final question, Aparajita Bharti Shide. Yeah, please, sorry.
Hello. Thank you for this talk, and you know, I have followed both your work. I was a Yatri sir in 2009, and I have followed your work in your constituency. I think there's a lot of common work that you've done in your own constituencies as well, with women and, you know, with SHG groups. I just wanted to ask that, you know, this conversation about aspirations is really important, but it's tied to livelihood opportunities to a big extent. And, you know, young people fundamentally want to do different kind of work than what other people, I mean, you know, what opportunities they've traditionally had in those areas. And because this is, you know, a community of people who are always the go-betweens between industry and, you know, government, is there something more that the private sector can do and partner with, you know, members of parliament to be able to create those local opportunities? If there are any examples of work that has happened in your constituencies or your state, and if there are better ways of, you know, the industry to communicate, that would be very helpful for us to know.
The private sector can contribute in more than one way, actually, in the development of a constituency. So if, say, for example, like there's been a demand for an IT park in my constituency for many years now. So I would really want an IT park to happen in Sholapur. For example, private-public partnerships, say in the area of education, or say in the area of self-help groups. You know, a lot of self-help groups were doing a lot of shosha. Self-help groups were giving them money through DBT, but there's no market for their product. आधे जो टेंडर्स होते हैं वो किसी पॉलिटिशियन के रिलेटिव ने पिकअप किए होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में जो बेडशीट्स जाते हैं या वो जो पिलो कवर्स जाते हैं, वी बिन डिमांडिंग फॉर द लॉन्गेस्ट टाइम कि इसके जो टेंडर्स है वो महिला बचत गट को देना, राइट? और से अ प्राइवेट प्लेयर, somebody is making soap for hotels, or we would like you to be involved. We are looking forward to public-private partnerships, you know, in our constituency. So the corporates and the private sector has even education for that matter. Now, of course, with a partnership with the government, there's a lot of areas. For example, in my constituency, in an area, there's shortage of water. So I've tied up with an Environment Foundation of India, which is sponsored, which gets funded by a private organization that are digging wells. So there's your CSR also can play a big role in developing our constituencies.
So I want to answer that because I'll also like to make a pitch for my constituency. मैंने 6 महीने बाद सांसद होने के मैंने 4 महीने मंथन किया कि हमारा जीडीपी कैसे बढ़े ओवर एंड अबव द ऑर्डिनरी, क्योंकि हमने विकसित भारत के नारे पे इलेक्शन जीता था. तो विकसित भारत को कार्यान्वित करने के लिए तो मैं 1 मिनट लेके, मेरी ग्रोथ रेट है 5.7% मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र की. मेरे 2 विधानसभा कुशीनगर में है, 3 देवरिया में है, और वो आज की तारीख में 17,000 करोड़ है. अगर मैं कुछ ना करूं और 5.7% पे, तो ये करीब 29,000 करोड़ 10 साल में हो जाएगा. 10 साल इसलिए क्योंकि किसी भी क्षेत्र को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए 5 साल पर्याप्त नहीं होता है. और उसमें हम लोगों ने ये निर्णय लिया है कि हम 3.5% ज़्यादा बढ़ाना चाहते हैं ताकि 12,000 करोड़ एक्स्ट्रा जीडीपी हम लोग ले आएँ 10 साल में, मतलब $1.5 बिलियन एक्स्ट्रा. और उसके लिए हमने 6 चीज़ों का निर्माण किया है. आप मेरी वेबसाइट amritprayas.in पे जा सकते हैं. अमृत प्रयास उसका नाम इसलिए है क्योंकि उसमें हम लोग अगले 10 साल के लिए जो एक लैंडिंग पे लॉन्च पैड करेंगे, 10 साल का जो होगा वो होगा. तो इट इज़ वेरी मच ओपन फॉर बिजनेस. अपराजिता, आपका जो क्वेश्चन है बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. प्राइवेट सेक्टर हम लोग ओपन इन्विटेशन कर रहे हैं. आप लोग बड़े बड़े शहरों में जो कि कुछ हद तक हमारा शोषण किए थे 200 साल तक, वहीं रहते हैं। आइए असली भारत में जाइए, असली भारत में असली भारत जाग रहा है। आपकी कस्टमर बेस वहाँ पर है, उसको प्रोडक्शन बेस भी बनाइए, और प्रोडक्शन बेस बनाएंगे तो ये 6 चीज़ें, इसमें एग्रीकल्चर है, उसमें MSME है, उसमें बड़ी इंडस्ट्रीज़ हैं, उसमें हम लोग IT BPO कर रहे हैं, हॉस्पिटल चेंज बनवा रहे हैं, उसमें एक मैं स्पेस सेंटर भी करवा रहा हूँ क्योंकि मेरा स्पेस से नाता है, और 4 इनेबलिंग है, एक शहरीकरण का मामला है, एक कुशीनगर एयरपोर्ट को हम लोग कर रहे हैं, एक चीज़ हम लोग नमो नारायणी वाटरवे बना रहे हैं, और एक डिफेंस और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पार्क बना रहे हैं। ऐसा नहीं कि यही चीज़ें, अन्य चीज़ें भी हैं। तो आप लोग ओपन फॉर बिजनेस। मैंने अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र में डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट और CDO के साथ मिलके एक ईज ऑफ बिजनेस ऑफिस अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र में बनाया, ताकि आप लोगों को कोई तकलीफ ना हो। तो प्लीज़ वेलकम फॉर बिजनेस, देवरिया इज ओपन फॉर दैट।
We're out of time. The only thing, we began this conversation by saying that we should try and discover the middle. Pafi, you have achieved the impossible. What our 2 MPs could not say in Parliament, they have said here, and they have shown us a way. So, salute to Pafi. And I think I'll just hand off to Rakesh for the vote of thanks. And thank you all, and please do join me in thanking these 2 MPs.
Yeah, thank you, Anil. So, very briefly, I mean, again, a great session because, as you rightly said, I mean, we did see that bipartisan common ground, and it was an honor to host you on behalf of PAFI. और अगले साल पाफी के 13वें फोरम में हम आशा करते हैं कि आप दोनों पुनः आएंगे हमारे अतिथि के रूप में, और विल बी एबल टू लुक बैक, again, the one full year that how you have represented us in the parliament, you from the treasury benches, Shashank ji, and as you as the conscience keeper of the nation, and the opposition, Pranti ji. Thank you so much once again, and thank you, audience.